Before the rise of Rome, Alexandria was the classical world's greatest city. Founded by Alexander the Great, where the mouths of the Nile met the Mediterranean, it became the capital of the richest Hellenistic kingdom. Its population swelled to 500,000. Greeks, Egyptians, Jews, and merchants from every corner of the known world. From Rome and beyond, tourists flocked to the city. Only scholars were granted access to the library, and only dignitaries could peer into Alexander's sarcophagus. But anyone could see the city's greatest wonder. It soared over the flat rooftops and level coast, so tall that ships 30 miles offshore could follow the glow of its beacons. The Lighthouse of Alexandria. Alexandria had 2 harbors, divided by a causeway that joined the mainland to the low limestone island known as Pharos. The lighthouse stood on that island and was often known by its name. Such was its fame that Pharos, like mausoleum, became a generic term. The French and Italian words for lighthouse, phare and faro, derive from it. The lighthouse was built during the reigns of the first 2 Ptolemies, though it seems to have been at least partially financed by a wealthy courtier named Sostratos of Cnidos. Construction reportedly cost 800 talents, about 46,000 pounds of silver. The appearance of the lighthouse is known from a series of smaller replicas, most notably the Roman lighthouse at A Coruña, Spain, and a Hellenistic tomb in Taposiris Magna, Egypt, and from literally thousands of artistic representations, ranging from Roman coins issued at Alexandria to a painted glass found at Bagram, Afghanistan. From this evidence, it seems clear that the Pharos had 3 tiers: a square base, an octagonal middle section, and a cylindrical tower. A ramp or staircase spiraled through the structure's center, leading up past storage rooms and dormitories to the beacon at its top. The nature of that beacon is unclear. It may have been an open flame built on the roof of the tower, or perhaps it was sheltered by the colonnaded belfry that appears on some coins, surmounted by a colossal statue of Zeus Soter. The light of the flames may have been amplified by burnished bronze mirrors, or even replaced by mirrors during the day. Whatever the exact arrangement, scholars agree that the beacon was about 350 feet above the sea. Among all the buildings in the classical world, only the pyramids were taller. We'll discuss the fate of the lighthouse and the recent rediscovery of its remains after a brief word about this video's sponsor, Huel. I do most of my writing in the morning, but it isn't always easy finding the energy to get started. That's why I added Huel to my routine. For the past few weeks, I've started my day with a Huel Black Edition shake. I especially like the chocolate flavor, which I drink with ice. It's a nice taste, with a smooth texture, and, more importantly, it gives me the energy I need to stay productive all morning. I've definitely noticed a difference, and I think you will too. Huel offers a range of other products, including nutrition bars, hot meals, and ready-to-drink shakes. To save 15% on your first order of Huel, either scan the QR code or follow the link on screen and in the description and use the code STONE15. Offer applies to all orders over $75. Returning to our topic. The Lighthouse of Alexandria remained in use for well over a millennium. It survived the civil wars and conflagrations that obliterated the tomb of Alexander and destroyed every book in the Great Library. It outlasted the earthquake of 365, when a tsunami roared over the harbors, smashing ships into gardens and palaces. It endured as the Roman Empire crumbled and Alexandria dwindled into a shadow of its former self. An earthquake in 956 brought about the collapse of the lighthouse's highest cylindrical stage. More damage occurred during the earthquakes of 1261 and 1303. By 1329, when Ibn Battuta first visited Alexandria, Only the square base survived. When he returned 17 years later, even the base had become too dangerous to enter. The final destruction came in the 15th century when the Mamluk Sultan Qaitbay used the ruins of the lighthouse to build the fort that still dominates Alexandria's harbor. The keep of Qaitbay's Citadel stands on the foundations of the Pharos. Stones from the lighthouse, like the huge granite blocks that frame the citadel's main door and the entrance of its mosque, were built into the walls. Much more of the Pharos lies beneath the surface of Alexandria's harbor, hurled there by medieval earthquakes. In 1961, an archaeologist convinced the Egyptian Navy to raise a colossal statue of Isis from the seabed. Although subsequent dives revealed more sculptures, no further work was done until 1994, when Jean-Yves Empereur began to survey the harbor. All around Qaitbay, Empereur found a huge debris field, which covered more than 5 acres of seabed. Here, up to 30 feet below the surface, were about 5,000 of the limestone blocks that had formed the walls of the lighthouse. Among them were the granite monoliths, weighing up to 75 tons, that had served as lintels and door jambs. Empereur and his colleagues also discovered columns, obelisks, and more than 24 sphinxes, all taken from pharaonic temples centuries older than the lighthouse itself. Perhaps the most remarkable finds were 2 enormous granite statues, each 40 feet tall, of a Ptolemaic king in the guise of a pharaoh and a Ptolemaic queen as Isis. Fragments of 4 more colossi, apparently representing other Ptolemaic royals, have come to light. They seem to have stood like guardians at the lighthouse's base, looming over a sculpture garden of sphinxes and obelisks. The work of recovering relics from the seabed continues. Recently, 22 huge blocks were hauled up from the harbor to help researchers create a digital twin of the lighthouse. If this project succeeds, the Lighthouse of Alexandria may, after 7 centuries, rise again from the sea. If you'd like to visit Alexandria and Egypt's other historical highlights, including the Giza Pyramids and the Valley of the Kings, you might want to join my November 2026 tour to Egypt. Follow the link on screen and in the description for more details. There's another link in the description for my Scenic Routes video on the visible ruins of the lighthouse and Alexandria's other classical monuments. You can learn Coptic, the language of the pharaohs, with Dr. Lydia Bremer-McCollum at the Religion Department, an online learning platform associated with the Religion for Breakfast channel. Follow the link in the description to learn more. You'll also find links for my Spring 2026 group tours, the Roman ruins of Spain, and In the Footsteps of Alexander. Please check out the Toldinstone Patreon. Don't forget my other channels, and, as always, thanks for watching.